You guys want to talk to Mr. Ooh La La?
I have been waiting for this. I've been talking to everybody, telling them how excited I am for this conversation. I was the one who requested you, Mr. Ooh La La. I was the one who was like, we have to have Mr. Ooh La La on.
Oh, Mr. Ooh La La, and he's going to be making his return to ECWA Night of Unusual Matches this Saturday, November 2nd. He's going to be taking on our good friend, King Reginald. Our good friend, Mr. Ooh La La. You like that? He's not smiling.
It looks like you guys have already begun drinking tonight, huh? You're a good friend.
Ooh La La. What's going on, my friend?
A Night of Unusual Matches. A Kiss My Foot match. I hope Reginald, and you might as well pucker up too, Brady, huh?
Why me?
Oh, you're a good friend, Reginald.
Our good friend.
Hey, don't lump us into this. I am an Ooh La La guy all the way, Brady.
He's like King of Morganville. All right. So, Mr. Ooh La La, so Kiss My Foot. Any kind of special preparation that goes into something like that? Please don't tell me Preparation H.
No, everyone knows you use Icy Hot now. Come on.
Okay.
Come on, Hicks. Jeez. Everyone knows this. The preparation. Yeah. Well, I've been squishing grapes. I've been doing the mud runs. You know, I did a 13. Actually, I think it was a 1K mud run the other day. Oh, it was across the yard. I made it. It was fantastic.
A lot of mud down there?
Oh, yeah. I'm not that far from Jersey, you know.
Mr. Ula, can I ask you, when was the last time you actually washed your feet? Or is that part of your preparation?
Oh, it's been at least 3 weeks. And let me tell you, if you don't come out and see the Kiss My Foot match, and I have to bear my beautiful foot to King Reginald, you're going to end up having to pay on my OnlyFans page if you're going to want to see my foot, just so you know.
I like it. So, Mr. Ooh La La, in the grander scheme of things, you've had some fantastic rivalries in the history of ECWA. Where does this rivalry with King Reginald kind of rank?
Oh, he has.
I stumped him.
No, you didn't, you swine. I want to say this as much as possible.
Brady, if you stop interrupting the man, he's going to give you an answer.
Brady, you can never stump Ooh La La. He is the best.
See, whomever that is, absolutely right.
It's Kathy.
I'm sorry?
It's Kathy.
Oh, dear God, where are you? I can't see you. You got the Cena gimmick going, huh?
Yeah,
no, see, you're such a dork, Brady.
You should put your face on there or something.
Yeah.
No.
So actually, King Reginald has actually been very impressive, honestly. He has actually grown in the ECWA. His work has gotten much better, and it's become more and more difficult to honestly, you know, there's a chance at that WrestleMania, the Wrestle Death match, that I was at the cusp of losing.
Wow. So what is it about
there, Brady? You saw it.
I saw it. Yeah. I didn't think we were allowed to say that, but you almost lost that match.
No, what is it about? Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. You'll see. If it wasn't, thank God for his arrogance and him probably climbing a rope, talking about a royal decree, about this decree, and meanwhile, he lost focus.
To be fair, Brady, though, saying that Mr. Ooh La La almost lost a match is like saying, that someone almost hit a home run when they hit a ball 10 feet. I mean, come on now. There was no doubt about it. He had it the whole time.
Well, I mean, regardless of how close he was to winning or losing.
Like the Mets almost went to the World Series, right?
Yeah, sort of like that, yeah.
like the Phillies almost got into the second round. Oh my God, what happened?
Well, they did get into the second round technically.
Well, technically, yeah, and then
not
they
their second round.
Yeah, and then they got a chance to take us in advance for the World Series.
They ran into Grimace, which is what's going to happen to King Reginald in this night of unusual matches. You know, you're lovable, Mr. Ulala. Everybody loves you. All the kids want to take pictures with you. But you know, King Reginald just seems so driven to me. You know, I just feel like, again, you even said it. Like, if he didn't get distracted or sidetrack himself, he may very well have won that match. So I got to ask you, what's the approach this time? What are you going to have to do differently?
I'm going to have to punch him right in his mouth.
Okay.
I'll punch him right in the mouth, and then we're going to actually go old school. He's going to go to school. He's going to see arm bars. He's going to see arm ringers. He'll see leg locks. We're going to take him. We're going to ground him. And then when he can't get up anymore, we'll work his leg. And then when he can't get up, he'll have to just accept the fact that defeat is at hand.
Well, it's going to be an interesting night for sure. Headlined by your former tag team partner, Jay DeLucious, challenging for the ECWA heavyweight title. What do you think his chances are against Darius Carter?
Listen, he's got as good a chance as anybody. Darius Carter, granted, holy smokes, my match with him was probably I still get chills thinking about it. But Darius Carter, at the end of the day, can be Darius Carter's biggest problem. His arrogance sometimes gets the best of him. And JD is no one to be fooled with. He's a mountain of a man. A splash in the corner could really hurt Darius, and God only knows where it goes from there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I know Darius Carter is wrestling every weekend, and Jay DeLucious, you know, he's slowing down in his career at this point. You know, he really only wrestles once in a while. This could, in fact, be one of the final opportunities to see him in the ring for fans in Morganville this Saturday. But you know, to look at it, yeah, he has the size advantage. He definitely has the strength advantage. Again, I got to call into question the focus. You know, like Darius Carter he's a honed athlete, and I think he's even learned a lot from when he defended the belt against you, that you don't want to take anybody for granted.
Agreed. He has taken each match, each event, and has taken his level up, even if it's just this much. He's that much closer and that much better. I'll give the devil his due.
One of the fans just shot me a question, Mr. Ulala, and it's a great question. If you look at earlier pictures of you in your career, you really have kind of evolved your look with time. You know, you've grown out the hair. You've adopted these sunglasses that we see you wearing right now. You know, it's a different presentation than it was even 10 years ago. What kind of led to that change for you?
It's the business, it's evolution. I've felt that there was times that things needed to change, and I've taken them, and it's just something that I felt needed to happen, and it has happened. It's organic. The change, the evolution has been gradual, and I actually one day should probably go through and get all the pictures together and find someone that knows how to do that whole morphing gimmick. So go through, because I can't do it. It'll be just one bing, 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 and it'll look like a hot mess. But I imagine someone that can do that, and I think it would be a fantastic thing to see, since I have stuff from back as far back as 86, 87.
Now, obviously, you're not in the beginning of your career, Mr. Ulala. Like, to kind of look at it, where would you say your conditioning is at versus a couple years ago? Because I feel like you're better now than you were when I first met you.
Well, I got a body by Drake's. Let's make that clear, okay?
Okay.
All right. But I do still work. I still stretch. I still do those things, and I know Cheetah Master will be stunned and shocked to hear that I stretch, because I swore 20 years ago I thought he was going to pull a hammy. Anyway, so I've learned how to make. I'm trying to not force people, but I'm changing people's style to be more accommodating to what I'm doing by being a veteran, knowing that if I'm going into the room, sometimes I'll have to hold on to it and slow their momentum down, change it up, and think right there in the moment, and just make things happen, or try to make things happen.
Mr. Ulala, I do have a question for you. So you have, on Saturday night, you were going to have the franchise Shane Douglas in attendance. And I have a two-part question for you. Number one, what is your overall win-loss record against the franchise? And number two, what is he coming to you for advice for? What type of information are you helping him to better his career, to extend his career? What kind of information, what kind of advice are you giving him?
Well, I am without question undefeated against the franchise, just as well as I am undefeated in, I believe, 47 states, honestly. So, I mean, that record speaks for itself. What would I tell franchise to do? He's got to hit the weights more. He's going to ask me, we're going to.
Is that what you do?
Is there a wolf in the house?
Sounds like somebody's got something going on.
He got very excited to hear you. My pup got very excited because he's saying, "Oh my gosh, that's the Mr. Ulala." So you got him very excited.
You make all the dogs howl.
So the franchise can ask me any question. I'm an open book. I'll do whatever. Whatever questions, I will be more than happy to answer him. God, that light is extremely bright.
Mr. Ulala, you brought up an interesting point before. You were talking about how you're kind of making your opponents now wrestle your style. You're making them come to you. Is that something that you kind of learn with experience?
Yes, it has. Years ago, I would try to show them that I could. The best example was trying to out wrestle Cheetah Master to overpower Boogie Woogie Brown, and needless to say, you've seen the results from those decades ago. Oh my God, I've counted the ceiling tiles of so many buildings. It's quite frankly unbelievable. But I will tell you where they need to work. But once I've learned to have them adapt to my style of wrestling by not doing what is expected. A couple weeks ago, I wrestled Dave Reed for the DCW heavyweight title, and we had a match, and he got me. I had him in the headlock, and he was going to throw me off the ropes. And sometimes my hand gets stuck in his beard, and I was able to change his way of thinking. He's not going to throw me off like that.
All right, very good. Howard, you had a question for Mr. Ulala.
Yes, sir. And I hear a lot of younger guys and wrestlers saying that they want to wrestle Mr. Ulala, and that's without question. Given the legendary status that you've attained over your years in the ring. But who is your dream opponent? Any era, any decade? Who would you want to square off one time, one-on-one?
Wow. Who I would think would be, and I missed an opportunity about 10 years ago to meet him. But if I could share the ring with Mil Mascaras, that honestly, God, and if there was a second person I could choose, it would be Roddy Piper. Those two are my favorite coming up.
That would be just incredible to watch you and Roddy Piper tear it up in the ring.
Yeah, and real quick, and not for nothing. Absolutely, not for nothing. I've never seen you and Mil Mascaras in the same area, so I'm just saying.
Oh,
are you saying it's like Clark Kent, Superman?
I'm just saying, you know. I don't know that they're different people.
Well, you can see my physique is much sharper and fighting but
Toned.
Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Ryan, go ahead.
So I want to piggyback off of Howard's question. And obviously we have on the show the WCW legend Stro Maestro. So my question to you, Mr. Ulala, when Stro is ready to get back in the ring, would you step in the ring with him and all? And you know, whether it's as partners, whether it's as adversaries, would you step into the ring with the Stro Maestro, WCW legend?
Are you kidding me? What a privilege it'd be for both him and I. Oh, the excitement. I can feel it now, the electricity.
What if he punched you in the mouth? Would that be a privilege?
No, that'd be a problem. That'd be a big problem.
Okay.
And it would be my big problem, quite frankly.
Right.
Because I know we talk a lot about, you know, about on the WCW show, especially, we've talked about how just you are an absolute legend, and there's so many people, and I know Howard mentioned it, there's so many people who want to get in the ring with you, and I know Stro had said it would be an honor for him to get in there with you, and you know, so I know, and I think he said he has wrestled with you or on the same, you know, I don't remember if he wrestled with you or against you, but he said he wants to get back. It would be an honor for him to get back in there with you. So just throwing it out there.
That's great news.
You know, Maestro. Now I got Maestro on the brain. So, Mr. Ulala, Howard kind of alluded to it. I think you're a bucket list wrestler for a lot of people, and not just independents, but I think throughout wrestling, there are a lot of people that would love to have a match with you before all things are said and done. Why do you think that is? Like, why have you kind of reached like cult hero status in independent wrestling?
I have no idea. Finnegan will tell you I have no idea. I don't know. I just do what I do for the love of the business, the love of the people, and quite frankly, I want to work with the youth to help pass on anything that I can of value to them to carry on to the next generations.
Yeah, you mentioned young talent. Is there anybody in particular that you've got your eye on?
Well, being as I have one eye currently, I really haven't given. There's just so much talent out there. There's Boom Harden and DCW. You have these young kids in ECWA. You have. There's just. I don't know. It's just. You look at the guys from the Monster Factory, MCW. There's just such young talent out there that's just willing to learn and soak up whatever you can give them.
Can I throw a particular name out there for you? Howard and I have had a talk about how this poor young man has a deadbeat father who just does nothing, you know, to you know, help his son, but you know, beats his son up. Would you go out and assist Dominic Mysterio, especially in his fight against that evil deadbeat dad of his?
Take him under your wing, if you will.
Well, first he'd have to shave that god-awful mangy-looking caterpillar off his upper lip, okay? Okay? He's going to need a haircut, and he's going to have to... Actually, all kidding aside, I am stunned at how much Dominic has grown in professional wrestling.
It is unbelievable.
Oh, for sure.
But I stand by the mangy-looking caterpillar. Yeah.
Especially from his day when he was, you know, in a ladder match against Eddie and, you know, his true father, Eddie Guerrero, and Dominic, and Ray. But that's a different story for a different day.
But honestly, back to Dominic. When he first came on, I thought, oh, here we go. But they have made him work his tail off. And he apparently has kept his ears open, his eyes open, and his mouth shut, and has absorbed everything that they have taught him, because his work in that ring right now is fantastic.
And to that, Ulala, has there been anybody that you could remember that generates so much heat by not saying a word and getting that kind of reaction from the crowd?
You had to go back. You'd have to go back. Honestly, I think. Well, first you had Gorgeous George, who just simply his body language just shouted out to people. Then you follow that up later with Adrian Street. His body language was unbelievable. Roddy Piper really didn't say much. He did a great interview, but when he was in the ring, he controlled things and he did what he needed to do. I mean, there's and one of the greatest things ever said to me was by Christopher Daniels in the 90s or early 2000s, the Super 8, when I said to him, I wish once I could do some of the stuff that you do in the ring. And he said, no, because we talk about this at the reunion show that I told him the story and he didn't remember. And that's okay, because there's a lot of real estate between then and now. But he goes, I want to do what you do. Now, remember, back then I was married by Barry Casino. I didn't say a word. Barry did all the talking for me. But when we were announced, when we came out, he said to me, he goes, what happens? I said, well, as soon as I go through the curtain, there's a downpour of booze and yelling and screaming and just trying to get underneath my skin. He goes, that's what I want to do. He goes, I have to almost break my neck for a golf clap, but you simply walking through that curtain just changes the whole complexion of the building. And I told him, he put me in my lane before I realized that I was in that lane.
No, that's fantastic, Mr. Ulala, and I can totally see that, by the way, because the kind of stuff that you were doing, it was really turning heads, even from pretty early on. Now, you're one of the few people, and very few people, it's a pretty elite list, that have been now through 3 different ECWA owners. And in that time, the company has undergone a lot of changes. It's changed a whole lot. Then it kind of reverted a little bit to what it used to be. But obviously, every time the company changes hands, the new owner is going to want to kind of put his own kind of signature on it. You know what I mean? So yes. With that said, where does the current ECWA kind of stack up to the product that you joined many, many years ago?
This locker room, and it was displayed at that reunion show, is as close to the original product as I can remember. And I take nothing away from Mike Tartaglia because he brought matches, he brought in talent. Look at the guys that have come through the ECWA through all the generation, all 3 levels that have brought such prominence to the organization. You know, you have No Days Off Fred Rossier, who wrestled Viscera at an ECWA show, and then he went on to go on. You had the guys that came through on the Super 8s, the Pepper Parks, you know, the obvious, Daniel Bryan, Low Key, Christopher Daniels. But then you have, I mean, I remember being in a match or some with Prince Nana, and then you know, they brought in a Nigerian Nightmare. I mean, they brought in Tartaglia, did a wonderful job. Jim Kettner set the standard and set the bar. And then Mike Tartaglia and Ryan have kept that at that level, in my opinion. Though their methods and the way they did their matches were different, it was done with the purest of interest of keeping the legacy of the ECWA and professional wrestling alive.
No, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And not for nothing, but I think that one thing that kind of all 3 owners have excelled at has been kind of finding that talent that isn't necessarily on anybody else's radar and making them bigger. You know, maybe not getting them ready for the next thing, but certainly giving them a healthy dose of their first mainstream exposure. And I'm thinking, for example, like people complain, oh, Austin Aries used to be in your Super 8s, and now you've got all these names we never heard of. Well, when Austin Aries appeared in the Super 8 in 2004, it was his first East Coast match. He had no exposure, and it led to him joining Ring of Honor. I look at, like, for example, good friend of Mike Tartaglia's, Deonna Purrazzo, became a huge name in women's wrestling. But when she first appeared in ECWA, she was really just starting out her career. What do you think about that? About the fact that, like, the owners have been so good at kind of identifying talent?
No, and that's their job. And when you look back at the history of the ECWA, it becomes apparent how rich the history is. There's a lot of good guys out there. There's a ton of good guys out there just looking for an opportunity, hoping to get recognized. And Triple H, feel free to call at any time. I'm available. Anyway,
I don't
want to be on TV, for God's sakes. No. I would want to work with the new talent, but so I've saved the flyers to my hard drive, and I keep looking at it, and I look forward to seeing in 10 years those same faces on my hard drive being on in the pay-per-view for AEW, TNA, WWE. I mean, maybe New Japan, or even going to Japan. I remember the one year the Super 8 had Milan Collection AT. Oh,
yeah.
I never was able to find his dog, but the dog was there apparently.
Wow.
And those who don't know should go watch his work too.
I remember when Adam Cole, you had like Adam Cole in there. You had people like Mia, what's her name? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Mi Chin. People like that who made their way through ECWA.
Adam Cole is such a genuinely nice guy.
Yes.
Too,
yes.
Oh my God, yeah.
I remember.
He's a fantastic heel. Like, I don't know what happened to that guy. Yeah. I can remember years ago. We were doing the show. It was just a random Tuesday night, much like this. We didn't have any guest plan. We're just sitting around talking, and out of the blue, Adam Cole, DJ Hyde, and Sami Callihan called in.
Sami Callihan, yep.
And they shot the crap with us for an hour. And it was like this amazing thing because obviously I didn't book any of them as guests. They just called in, just for fun. And it was such an amazing time. And I know Adam Cole is amazing. A lot of people forget that, like, Tommaso Ciampa was in that Super 8 too, that he was the finalist with Adam Cole. Like, what a Super 8 final that was. That was amazing. That was Mike Tartaglia right there.
Yeah, well, look at Tartaglia did the Legacy Super 8.
Yeah. I mean, I would say even people who, there's been such amazing talents who maybe aren't on TV, like a Papadon, Kakoa, some incredible talented guys. And what a treat you have to be able to see those guys, work with some of them. Like, honestly, I'm like jealous right now. Like, man, you were one of the luckiest people in the wrestling planet because you've had the chance to work with or share a locker room with some incredibly talented people.
And it's been a privilege, and I am fortunate.
One of the listeners wants to know if you could kind of resurrect a rivalry from the past, from any time period, and bring it to the current ECWA show. Who would you be feuding with from your past?
Let me tell you.
I got a feeling. I have a feeling who it'll be.
Go ahead, say it.
Mr. Cheetah Master would be my guess.
You're damn right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, being in the ring with JJ, the ring crew guy, in that battle royal, was almost the same. It was, honest to God, that was the same feeling I had with the Cheetah Master.
That's pretty cool.
That was very cool until I lost. Okay. However, that moment when we stood face to face in that ring is a moment I will never forget. Just like when Cheetah and I did the match, we worked at the Dover Air Force Base, and damn it, we couldn't find Captain Lou, who was in his corner, because Captain Lou was at the concession stand. But anyway, that's another story for another day.
Well, you've had a lot of really great memories in the ECWA over the years. Is there any one memory in particular that kind of stands out to you? Like I guess like a pinch me moment is what we would call
it. Honestly, it is coming full circle, winning the ECWA heavyweight title.
Yes.
I didn't think it would. I didn't think it was ever. It wasn't on my radar. I'm there to work. I'm there to make the show better. And I did not. I honestly did. That was probably that was one of the coolest damn things in my life, was winning that ECWA title, heavyweight title.
Like, to me, that was the moment when you stopped being a supporting character on the show and started being a major reason why people go to the shows. And I think that's what you are today to ECWA. You're a reason that people would buy a ticket and show up.
Can I make an analogy a little bit? Would you say it's the Mick Foley of WWF in the late 90s? You know, that's your connection to ECWA in a lot of ways. Like, you drew in like that completely different crowd of people who didn't expect, but now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we have to see this guy.
No, you're absolutely right. I've had fans. I sold some shirts in Canada to some people, and then they ended up driving down to the show. I'm like, holy smokes, that is like one of the highest compliments, that you're taking your time out to come down and see me. There's all this town on the show, and it's wild. It's a wonderful time to be alive. I know that.
Mr. Ulala, I think a lot of people are wondering, how much longer do you plan on doing this? I mean, because I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed when you ultimately step away.
My limbs will fall off before I step away.
Okay, that'll make it easier to pin you.
Well, you shut your mouth. But yeah, I'll be like the guy in Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound. Let's keep going. Okay?
Right.
That'll be me. Okay. And I
believe it.
The hell with it. I'm running forward. I'm moving forward. I'm not looking back. And when I do, I look back with pride and joy, because this wild ride ain't over yet. It's just the beginning. Each year just allows me to rethink what I'm doing, reinvent myself.
So can I ask you, Mr. Ulala, what's next after you make him kiss your foot? And I'm including Brady in that. After you make them kiss your feet, what's the next step after that for you?
I don't know. My canvas is empty. We'll paint the picture as we go along.
Maybe another heavyweight title run? I mean, I'm just saying. All
right. If JD doesn't dethrone Darius Carter, and I did, that would be a badass moment. Okay.
Okay. Oh, for sure. It would be. The reaction when you won it the first time, I think the fans, a lot of them were really caught off guard by it. It made for an amazing kind of very generic moment, like something like it was very authentic. It was, you could tell that people were excited.
Do you know what I said? When
I forget, but I remember you told me.
Yeah, I grabbed the microphone and the first words were, "Holy shit." And they popped, and I popped. I popped when I won, because I almost wanted to call Ripley.
Right. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that you're going to be running forward with no limbs, because you said your limbs are going to fall off.
I'm unstoppable.
I guess my question is, when your limbs fall off, are we just going to like break you down and put you in the truck with the ring and just bring you to the next show?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, there you go. Permanent fixture.
Yeah.
Can I ask? I apologize. I feel like I'm asking like 1,000 questions here of you, Monsieur Ulala. But this one actually, to me, I think, just thinking about your career, your long career, how awesome you've been. But I'm going to ask you this, and this is a little bit in the spirit of Howard and Maestro's WCW Retro, in that kind of spirit of the show, their Thursday show. If you could go wrestle at any promotion of any time period, what would it be? So I know Brady asked earlier, who would it be? But I want to know what the promotion would be. What would be the time period?
I would want to wrestle in the Omni the same night Buzz Sawyer and Tommy Rich were in that cage.
Oh, that would be a treat.
Yeah, maybe
insert yourself into that match. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh, for God's sakes, no! What the hell is wrong with you? They were beating the hell out of each other.
I don't know what the hell is wrong with him. I don't know. Mr. Ulala. Let's bring it full circle back to the current ECWA, because this Saturday, night of unusual matches. I believe this is the third or fourth time that ECWA has done this in as many years. How special is it to be able to wrestle on this kind of a unique night where, I mean, all the matches just are totally random, it seems like.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, I've been in the one night, it was the French Bastille match against Cheetah Master.
That's right.
Then we were out in Jersey with Tartaglia, where we did this spin the wheel. And that's when I wrestled Ricky Martinez for the first time, and that match was fantastic, despite referee in that match, Phil Sly. At any rate,
right. We do miss him.
Well, like a hemorrhoid, I'm sure. But those nights, those matches, especially that night when they pulled it right out there on the spot, that was magnificent, because it was the apex of an organic match.
Yeah. I remember a couple of years ago, you actually had a coal miner's glove match. How intense was that?
Well, you don't want to get hit by one, for God's sakes. And that was Mike Law, who literally manhandled me in the beginning. I underestimated. Yeah. I mean, the man is strong as an ox. Holy smokes. But
yeah,
I mean,
he's got a Napoleon complex.
Except he can back it up.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
He can.
For sure.
There's a name I'd like to see in the ECWA again, Mike Law.
I do miss the guy, and he's such an amazing talent. We're also going to. You miss him, really?
I do, because despite the arrogance and all that, you learn from him. I learn from him. I still learn watching everybody out there.
You know what I learned from Papa Don? I learned that if somebody extends their left hand, you never shake it. That's what I learned. My ear was ringing for a week because of Papa Don. Yep.
Why'd you step out of line?
I did nothing. I did nothing.
Oh, that's
Brady.
He's a bad guy.
No, you did.
He's a bad guy. I was a good guy. He was a bad guy.
Mr. Ulala, that sounds like a load of horse manure he's talking right there.
Mr. Ulala, I want to mention too, one of the big matches from this Saturday that we definitely should talk about. So Joey Ace is going to be taking on LA Vin, and this is a loser leave town match. It's going to be an emotional thing because both guys have been around the company for so long now. I can't even begin to envision having to say goodbye to one of these two.
Oh, both of them have have their stamp on the ECWA. Both of them. I mean, when LA Vin comes out there, I'm in awe of his reaction. It's a beautiful thing to hear. Joey Ace. I mean, we were on the cusp of beating the Rock and Roll Revival. I mean, exactly right. No, it's okay because I do it too. But
I'm making fun of him.
Another one. I mean, he's been a staple for the last, I want to say 6 or 7 years, it seems.
Yeah.
I mean, he's constantly there. You hear his music. At one point, you could hear the people upset. Now they're excited. And neither one of them, is it forever? Is it for 30 days? I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not too long. Hopefully it's, I guess we'll see. I just, that's one of those matches where I something's got to give, and I don't see what's going to give. I really don't. I feel like they could wrestle for 24 hours straight and not have a winner.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then we have our Hall of Fame event with Sam Shields.
Yes. Yeah. Sam Shields returned into the ECWA. He retired a year ago. What's that?
I said, what a privilege it was to watch him work.
So he was an amazing talent. And I think in Mike Tartaglia's ECWA, he was a little less heralded because he was more of a tag team guy with Chris Rockwell. But his significance in World One, alongside Chris Rockwell, who went the longest reigning World One champion, he's had a tremendous career, And under Ryan Kavanaugh, we've seen Sam Shields really flourish. He got to win a bunch of world titles or heavyweight titles, and he got to main event a bunch of shows, and he was kind of it felt like right where he needed to be, and it's good to see him kind of coming home again.
No, absolutely. And Rockwell is something. He's something else.
He hasn't won a match in a while. It's been a long time, actually.
Yeah, I know the feeling in the early 90s, okay? I get it. But he's there. Time. He's there. He's there. He's plugging away. He's pushing. He's counted the ceiling as much as I have over the years, I think. But it's okay.
So do you think one of these times he's going to proverbially not fall when he gets into the ring? One of these times?
It might take decades. I know it did for me.
Okay. All right. Well, we're speaking about Clutch Rockwell. He's going to be taking on the franchise Shane Douglas, ECW legend, and certainly a huge household name in wrestling that for some reason, and we know the reason because of the close camaraderie of the locker room, but, he keeps coming back. He keeps coming back and getting that ECWA experience, and he's going to have it once again this Saturday in Morganville, New Jersey.
Yes, he will. He's going to get a full dose of ECWA.
Now, for people who maybe aren't as familiar with ECWA, Mr. Ulala, what sets it apart? Like, why should they want to buy a ticket?
The atmosphere is genuine, inviting, and warm. There's something for everybody at an ECWA event. You'll see someone flying off the top rope, not me. You'll see somebody doing a scientific display of professional wrestling. Could be me. Most likely not. However, you will.
Could be.
Could be. I'm switching it up. But what ECWA is something for everybody. Whether you love JD Luscious, you absolutely want to boo into the next millennium Darius Carter. The Backyarders, their rule book is thicker than the 1980s. Okay, I've never seen anything like that. There's rules.
You have to come check it out.
There's rules to bend the rules for the rules that were bent. I mean, it's
right.
I've never seen anything like it. I hope someone takes that and tears those pages out, because they have every rule loophole under the Backyarders rules to remain victorious. And The old me admires that, I tell you, because I get it. But I mean, the Raw Dog.
I love him.
I
helped come up with his name. I don't know if I should be proud of that, but I did.
That's an interesting question there, Brady.
Yeah.
How the hell did that happen?
I forget. I forget. But we came up.
Not that memorable, huh? Jeez. What kind of pal are you?
Hey, I helped him, right? He's the Raw Dog now.
Yeah, probably couldn't. Yeah.
Mr. Ulala, there's so many great bad guys running around ECWA right now. I think the question in my heart of hearts, and I'm sure a lot of fans as well, is could Mr. Ulala ever turn again? Could we ever get that bad guy back? I miss him so much.
That's up to, I don't know. I remember Boogie Woogie Brown work. The transition from heel to face was just seamless for me.
Yeah.
And whenever Boogie Woogie Brown turned heel in the ECWA, and then he turned face again, but something was lost.
Yeah, you never quite get it back.
No, you don't. I don't know. I do know that in 1992, 93, 94, all the way up before I damaged my eye, I probably could have been a backyarder. I don't know.
I can see that.
And Abs Armstrong. Oh my God.
What? You don't like Abs?
Oh, I like Abs.
Okay.
I like Abs. I like the night that I worked against him and I had a better 6-pack than he did. In fact, I had an 8-pack going. and he had that old washable marker running off his belly. I don't even know what the hell happened.
You had a keg, my friend.
Are you kidding me?
Hey, look at me. I'm not
talking about. Ulala, even to this day, Ulala is rocking a 12-pack. A beer, but still a 12-pack.
It is. It doesn't matter. Might be Keystone. Who knows?
I love it. Mr. Ulala.
Can I ask you, since you said the backyarders have their own, rule book, any chance we could get the Ulala rule book?
Oh, you know what? I'll put one together for you.
Oh, that would be a dream come true right there.
I'll put a rule book together. I'll start working on it after the show. I'll start working on I'll get something typed up, or maybe I'll do what the backyarders do and use a crayon and construction paper, something along those lines.
I was going to say, I hope it's an abbreviated version.
I mean, Mr. Ulala, I know you're not going to use a crayon and construction paper because, unlike the backyarders, you are a man of exquisite education and class.
That's right. I'll use colored pencils. Anyway.
Exactly.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen. I love it. Mr. Ulala, thank you so much for the time tonight. It's always an experience. And I feel like every time I get you on, I say, we got to get you back sooner. And then real life happens and you overlook stuff, but it's always a pleasure.
No, with all the talent out there, you need to get on as much as you can. I mean, there's so many other stories, so many good stories. But the thing with Meister tonight, holy shit. Yeah.
He's doing that smile where he knows he could mess you up right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like he took me to Andy Ann's pretzels. Yeah, no big deal.
Brady, can I ask one last question of Major Ulala before he runs, we send him on his way for the evening?
Sure.
Just because I think he's a great person to ask about with the WWE trying to do their independent, they're working with schools, their independents and schools working with. What impact do you, sir, see as having on the wrestling industry? Like that, what do you think the impact of that is going to be?
I saw the first 3 schools were all WWE alumni or current roster.
Yeah,
I believe that is correct. But there's so much out there. Whether you go to MCW, and I can only so Kakoa is working down south, Gangrel is down south. You have MCW, that the Monster Factory. You have Combat doing stuff. There's stuff in Philly. Listen, this is a time if you want to be a professional wrestler, because when I started in '86, you had to mail letters. You had to write. I had to buy the magazines to get the full listing of all the schools before I found the Monster Factory. And then I drove an hour and 15 minutes every day, 4 days a week for 6 months to learn only to be a referee because I was too small at the time. But I wouldn't change a thing. I have the letters from Larry Sharp as a reference for me to be a referee. Again, and then I remember traveling to shows with guys, trying to bring in my gear, learning things like, you'd learn as a referee, you bring a sewing kit with you. So if you've got a hole in your breeches there, you can go stitch them up, that time in wrestling, I mean, it was so different. You didn't, look at the guys now. You guys got a podcast or a TikTok thing, and next thing you know, he's working for WWE. And I don't begrudge any of them. This is their time. They've done things differently, and the times are different. So just live in the moment. And if you are, keep your ego at home. That's all I can tell you. Just keep it at home, because any of this could end in a flash.
And not for nothing, but Mr. Ulala, Ryan, I don't know if you even knew this, but he is like such a historian. He has like he mentioned like the original letter, when he got accepted into wrestling school. He's got programs dating back, what, Mr. Ulala, 30, 40 years in pro wrestling?
I got a newspaper article from 1987 from the News Journal when they came to the Monster Factory, and that actual picture's on the wall at the Monster Factory.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, you definitely have lived quite the life, and I think the fans appreciate you for your genuineness, Mr. Ulala. I think that you're one of those people that you can tell he absolutely loves the sport of wrestling. He loves the fans, and he loves just being able to compete, And, I, for one, all kidding aside, you've been a good friend to me over the years, and to wrestling fans in general. And I want to say thank you for that. I make it sound like you're like going away or something, but hopefully we're going to be doing this for quite a few more years.
That's the plan. And actually, the end of all this, cheers to you guys for doing this too.
Thank you.
You can't see me right now, but I am bowing down to your greatness, Mr. Ulala.
No need to bow down. We are equals in this world.
Well,
talk about a humble human being too. That's just not only incredible in the ring, but incredible out of the ring too.
So my goal, Mr. Ulala, when my limbs fall off, is to have somebody else do this, where I can just sit back and watch. I'm just kidding.
I understand. I understand. Yeah.
Hey, it's been great, my friend, and we'll see you this Saturday, ECWA Night of Unusual Matches.
All right. Au revoir. Ooh la la!
I was hoping for ooh la la. That just made my night.
Take care, buddy. All right, there you have it, Mr. Ooh la la. Mr. Ooh la la. I love it.
Absolute treat. Man, oh man, that you want to talk about getting the week started right. That is, I know it's technically Tuesday,